Now we review Depression, the movie, better known as 2024's Memoir of a Snail. Ladies and gentlemen, warning, if you are suicidal, do not watch Memory of a Snail. Oh dear God, it was depressing. It was so utterly depressing. The utterly depressingness of it was so incredibly depressing. I think I need some chocolate. It's not helping. It's actually really good chocolate, though. I mean, got me some giant Gelt milk chocolate here. Anyway, for every 1,000 subscribers I get, I do purchase one of these bracelets from 4Ocean. 4Ocean pulls a pound of trash out of the ocean every time I do that. Yes, people do mock me because I only pulled a small amount of trash out of the ocean, but isn't that more of a you thing? If you cared more, I'd have more subscribers. Ugh. Anyway, Memoir of a Snail is the story of a pair of twins, primarily the female twin. They're a boy and a girl. She was born deformed and frail, and this fragility ran in her family, so she became an orphan and had an obsession with snails. And, you know, this all takes place in Australia. And wow, is this not a big endorsement of Australia? It's like, hello world, Australia sucks. It feels more English than it does Australian to me because of the characters involved, but I don't know what Australia's involvement in the First World War is, which is a topic in this film. But basically what you have is a family of tragedy. It's just, you know, it's this wounded bird syndrome where it's like, you know, the bird is wounded. Because it's wounded, it can't feed itself properly. It eventually heals, but it's weak. And because it's weak, it can't feed itself properly. And it lives this rather dismal life, always trying to build up and live a normal life, but never can. And, you know, whereas there is some optimism in this film, there is also a lot of pessimism. It's a very sad color palette. This is a film, it's an animated film full of strange and bizarre characters, a distinctive style that reminds you of Tim Burton. It's a very gothic Tim Burton sort of a look, but it's very sad and very somber. And I mean, most of this movie is being narrated by the main character as she speaks to her favorite snail, an actual snail, which probably should have died many years before because, as I say, it is a garden snail. Which is weird because her dad's French, and the French eat those things. But the thing about this garden snail is that it has a reverse shell, which makes it incredibly unique among snails, a very rare creature. And, you know, some might say that this snail is rare and beautiful. Others might say that it's still just a snail. That is kind of one of those points of this film, is that you're talking about these people You know, the brother and the sister are separated at one point, and one of them goes to an extremely religious family that speaks in tongues and is very, very hypocritically staunch and extreme. They're an extreme form of Christian that worship apples, and believe in suffering, and basically that the child they adopt is just there as slave labor. He's there to work their fields. They pay him and then expect him to donate everything he makes to the church, which is a family church. They own it. God, this is absolutely depressing. It is so depressing. It reminds me of my stepmother. May she roast in hell. Anyway. So as I say, the female twin winds up going to a sort of a hippie-esque group of people who believe in self-help books and motivation and affirmation, and they make her certificates that are like, wow, you're the best girl ever certificates, and they just lose all their meaning because you just keep handing them over and handing them over and handing them over. This was something they did in my childhood. I don't need paper to tell me how good I am. I know I'm no good. That's just, lying to me on paper isn't any better, man. And then they're swingers. They go to these weird parties, and she's like watching her adoptive parents bang other people, and there's stop motion, weird, upsetting nudity. This is a strange movie, man. Seriously, I think what you need to do is take some, weapons grade peyote to deal with this stuff. Weapons grade peyote. Excellent strain, by the way. Anyway, it's so everything's really sad, and she basically loses almost everything she cares about, but she finds new things to care about, and she learns to let go, and she learns to do bad, and she learns to do good, and there's moments of pay it forward, and what you're watching is a slow motion disaster, man. Just imagine it's World War I, and you see this quaint little town, and it's just serene and wonderful, and everybody knows each other, and they all gather at the pub and drink beer and sing songs, and the wives bake cookies, and they all have their holiday in the pub together as a people, and then World War I rolls through, man, and the pub burns down, and the houses are all trashed, and terrible things happen to everybody, and everybody's scarred, and everybody's in pain, and then it's at the end, you see some flowers bloom, and then there are some survivors, and you're just wow, you've got these specks of beauty in this incredible ugliness, and it's now left for you to decide, should I focus on the specks of beauty or be consumed by the ugliness? Yeah, man, this was depressing. Because we live in a world being consumed by ugliness. There's so much ugliness out there. Have you noticed lately? These wars and these politicians who are so ugly and weird, and everybody does terrible things to women now. What's wrong with this world, man? So you've just got to ask yourself, what do you do? What do you do in this world? It's kind of the Stephen Hawking said, so long as there is life, there is hope. But hope just feels so small, like a candle in the distance, and all you see is this dim light. So yeah, this is an art film. Being an art film, I have to say that, you should probably watch art films. And I can't look at an art film and say, you should watch this. It's sort of like Requiem for a Dream, which is just utterly depressing. It's an excellent film, but it's utterly depressing. Memoir for a Snail, which has a very similar title now that I think of it, is a very depressing movie. And I mean it when I say, if you're suicidal, you probably shouldn't see this film. Because it's so utterly sad. But it's meant to be sad. And to me, this was an agonizing film. It was an agonizing, long film, but I was supposed to feel that agony because the main character feels that agony, that length, that isolation and loneliness. And it's a very painful thing to watch. Perhaps it's a very necessary thing to watch, and it teaches us one of those concepts of, the time to live your life is now. Focus will bring you through. And there's this time where this woman is lamenting her poverty and her hoarding and all the things that have dragged her down over the years. And I could relate. I could tell you, I bought this a very long time ago. I do food reviews. Why, I don't even know anymore. I don't make anything at it. I make a few pennies per day. It's pathetic. The key to eating during videos, by the way, is small bites. Unless people want to watch you chew. Small bites, and then move the food to your cheek. But the reason this gets my rare art film rating is it accomplishes exactly what it's meant to accomplish, which is to express both hope and despair and the complications of life. So, what I have to point out here is that if you're a very deep and thoughtful person, you should watch this, okay? Maybe even watch it with relatives and a good strong drink. But do understand, this is a very sad movie. It's the kind of movie that I know would traumatize some people. And that trauma, well, we have enough of it. But that's just my opinion. And I'd love to hear yours in the comments below. I'm Richard.
Greetings, humanity. I'm Randall the Rat, and I'm here to remind you that, well, you should probably comment, like, and subscribe now. And why? Well, the world isn't all that great, and Random Street Theater here is trying to change it. We do things like have trash removed from the ocean, pay for trees to be planted, and even feed orphans. And you can help. You can comment, like, and subscribe, and it's free. When you think about it, if you don't do those things, well, what are you saying? Are you saying you don't care about the ocean and trees and even orphans? Well, sounds like you're a bad human. And you have a delicious face.